that long day behind you. Good times lie ahead. With company worth keeping, that'll bash a smile on your head. Come on in, the door's open, you'll find just the finest folks here. Pull up a chair, grab a drink, and lend our stories your ear. Cause we're the talk the tavern. Here you're always welcome. The talk the tavern. Promising beer and bedlam. The talk the tavern. Music, medicine, then some. The talk the tavern. The song's over. Here we come.
And welcome to the tavern, folks. It is a smoky night here as I light my pipe and lift my bow and blade whiskey to my lips, gingerly licking and stroking. I'm sorry, that's the OnlyFans show. I'm Travis. We're here in the tavern tonight, and we're going to talk about something interesting, which is definitely not what I was about to talk about. I do have the bow and blade whiskey, bourbon, a nice dark cherry Cavendish in my pipe, and a big old glass of water in the live streams pint glasses that are available on merch. What about you, Ed? What do you got? What are you touching? What are you doing?
I'm drinking a Woodford Reserve, one of their specials. It's really, really yummy and very, very delicious.
Didn't you have
Yeah,
that on the last show too? I thought you said
I
you were
had that on
out.
the last show too. Well, I got a second bottle stashed away.
Fucking smart people. God damn it.
but but yeah, for those of you that are actually watching this versus listening to it, you probably notice, that black guy doing the music, his beat is a little off. But I can't hear the song that Travis is playing. So while he's playing that song, I'm playing Hip Hop Hooray. So, I do have rhythm. I really do have rhythm.
I'll tell you
How
what,
about
Ed.
you, Andrea?
Well, hold on. I'm so sorry to interrupt her intro. But Ed, I guarantee if you're doing it differently than what I'm doing it, you are probably on beat and I'm not. Just facts. Sorry, Andrea. Please carry on.
Oh, is it my turn? Okay. Well, I don't know if I have rhythm. Whatever. So,
I've heard different.
Oh, yeah. You got some rhythm. Oh, yeah.
just like always, I have my tea in my wine glass. Stemless wine glass, so I don't knock it over.
Because she might not be drunk, but she plays one on OnlyFans. Anybody got a story from this week or something interesting happened? Or Tal says she would still tap it. I mean, knock it over.
Knock it over.
That's different.
Yeah, you would.
All right. Anything interesting?
She's got skills.
Any stories from this week? Or shall we just?
Stories this week?
You got a story?
No story.
What do you guys think of the new Snow White trailer?
Haven't seen it yet. I know there's a new one coming out. Is it supposed to be live?
Yes, it's live action.
Yeah.
Okay. And Gal Gadot plays the evil queen, Wonder Woman.
Okay.
So, liking that, and some people apparently are complaining that Snow White is Latina instead of a pale-ass bitch. And here's what I'll say. I didn't even realize that. I just went, oh, cool, live Snow White. This is what they should be doing instead of these hugely successful ones.
Why does it matter?
See, but Maria says, I think they should have CGI'd Snow White instead of the dwarves. Horrible casting. Dear Lord, it makes me pissed. Now, Maria, I don't know why you're pissed, but here's what I'll say. I saw the actress doing a little interview blurb thing about the movie. And watching her and then in the movie. Okay, Maria just backed me up on this. I had a problem with how she presented herself. It wasn't anything about skin tone. It was just like, why do I feel like she should be chewing gum and saying gnarly and rad with every sentence? I mean, she didn't give off. And Maria said, I don't give a fuck what she looks like. In every interview, she bashes the original Snow White. I don't think she comes off very well in the role.
Okay.
And by the way, they look like they CG'd her pretty well too.
I got a Snow White story. I don't know if we'll get kicked off of Twitch for sharing it or not. But anyway, I'm going to share it anyway. A couple years ago, several years ago now, my wife asked me what I wanted for Christmas. I told her a couple of white women. So she bought me Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Sleeping Beauty on DVD.
It's a nice compromise.
Yeah, not what I was looking
And
for.
by the way, fucking clever of her. But I noticed
Yeah.
you didn't get a blonde in there.
Sleeping Beauty, isn't she blonde?
Oh, I guess she is. I don't know. She was asleep. I didn't go put my dick on her. I mean, kiss her to wake her up.
So, okay, the question is, why did she take the role? Because money.
Money.
Can't blame her there. Why was she offered the role? I think it was because I heard her sing.
She does sing well.
It's lovely. So maybe that's why they offered it. And even if she didn't care for it, have you ever taken a job you did not want, but you wanted the money or needed the money? There you go.
All right, I got to
You're
see who it
welcome.
is now. Damn.
Also,
I
Maria,
mean, she sings beautiful.
I'm wondering if the CGI dwarves were actually played by real dwarves and they just CG'd the classic look over Dopey and Grumpy and Doc. What?
I think
Mhm.
some of them were
Yeah.
little people cast, but I don't know if they all. I just don't understand. Like, did Tim Burton do this?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Because it kind of reminds me of what is it, the Red Queen, Alice in Wonderland, where they CG'd a lot of stuff to make it a little.
Right. Right.
So that's what it reminds me of.
I could see Tim Burton putting 7 fucking Andre the Giants in there as the dwarf.
Oh God. Okay, Tim Burton, if you are watching this, yes, please do.
Yeah, that would be fucking great. Still make them look like classic fantasy dwarves, just 7 foot tall.
Like you
Fucking
need
awesome.
That
like
would be awesome.
the wrestlers, like, because Andre the Giant's not around anymore,
Sadly.
but Batista from when he was in all those movies, yes, Guardians of the
Yeah.
Galaxy.
Oh, Bautista as Dopey. No, he doesn't talk. I guess we'd have to have him talk. Maybe
We gotta
Bashful.
have him talk. Yeah,
Bautista could be Bashful.
Bashful.
But yeah, that would be great. We got an idea here.
Which, by the way, for anybody out there going, oh, Winnie the Pooh is now, and they could make it and take it, and anybody can make it. Look, Snow White, Cinderella, a lot of these things, they all come from Grimm's fairy tales. The Brothers Grimm.
They're not like what Disney made.
Go read the damn book they put out. Find your own story that somebody else hasn't done. And then make that. And if you want to make it as a children's story and whitewash it and make it pretty, that's fine. If you want to make it as a horror movie or Hansel and Gretel, demon hunters or whatever they were, they were hunting some kind of monster hunters. I know. And that's what I'm saying is.
That was okay.
Yeah, okay. Jeremy Renner was in it, but it wasn't horrible.
It wasn't horrible.
But it wasn't great. But
it was a really bad, good movie.
I tell you what, one of my favorite those movies was it was called The Brothers Grimm. Yeah, and it had Matt Damon and
Yep.
It wasn't Ben Affleck.
Do not confuse The Brothers Grimm with The Brothers Grimsby.
Very different movies. Yeah, but go watch both. But anyhow, yeah, they're fun movies, that's what I want when I go see a movie. And by the way, I'm going to try to make this last tangent before the actual topic. With Aliens Romulus, have you seen it, Ed? It's available on Disney Hulu. It's the latest in the Aliens series, and it goes back between the time between episode. It's between episode 1 and 2.
Right.
But it's almost a carbon copy of 1.
Almost, yeah.
Okay, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
It's not.
Maria, they didn't buy aliens, but that would be so cool if Ripley was a
It seems
Disney
like it.
princess. Talk about a badass Disney princess. How sweet would that shit be? Right?
I'm
Right?
sorry. I just had Klinger running through my head.
Klinger
Anyway.
from MASH?
Yeah. Disney does own Fox Studios now.
Oh God.
What did I want to talk about that wasn't this? Ed, how much do you get paid?
How much do I?
How much do you get paid? Roundabout. You don't have to tell me exact numbers. Just give me a ballpark here.
Less than 60K.
Less than 60K. Oh my God. Hold on. I'm going to do the math real quick for an hourly. We'll just call it 57 divided by 52 divided by 40 equals 27 cents an hour. I think that math was wrong because...
So around a little bit more than minimum wage, correct?
Well, what is minimum wage now? Because it just went up, didn't it?
I
don't know.
Virginia did not go to the full 15. So
Right. Well, they're doing it in increments, like by 2026 or 27.
No, they cut it.
Oh.
It's been cut.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, Ed, do you have a problem making ends meet with your income?
I don't want to say I live paycheck to paycheck.
Uh-huh.
I do have a little bit extra left
right.
over, but yeah.
And your wife makes more than you, correct?
But
less than 60K.
Okay.
But you live in a 2-income household.
Yeah.
With no kids,
a lot of people
no
do not.
pets.
No kids, no pets. Our vehicles are paid for.
And
we're just making a house payment.
And your mortgage was finagled before COVID and the market bullshit.
Yeah, I'll tell you what my mortgage is. My mortgage is $1,300 a month.
Which is still sounds
That's
expensive.
less than rent. That's okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like
because I bought my house in 2004.
But you refinanced since then?
Refinanced, but still the mortgage rates were still low when I refinanced. So when I got the divorce, I had to refinance.
And Andrea and I make less than 35K each. We don't have a mortgage. Bought the house cash, put a ton of fucking money into it, and we still have weeks where we're like, oh, we have to pick and choose what we're going to do or which bill is most important.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, minimum wage was what, $7.25 2 years ago?
7 something, not very long ago.
It
is
$12.41 right now in Virginia. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. As of January 1st, $12.41.
What is federal? Because I know like California is going up to like $18 an hour or something.
The federal minimum wage is still down to like $7 or $10 or it's something stupid. It's still very low. Federal minimum wage is below poverty.
$7.25.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So
it's below poverty level.
Did the government raise state minimum wage, but not federal minimum wage?
States raised minimum wage, but the federal government did not.
That feels backwards.
How about that?
So, minimum wage went up. COVID happened. Minimum wage went up. Politics happened. And here we are. By the way, we're not going to talk about eggs. That doesn't have to do with any of this. That has to do with a goddamn avian flu, a bird flu.
However, if it wasn't for the price of groceries, which eggs are included,
right,
I would be making damn good cake.
Yeah, if you didn't have to eat.
But damn, groceries went through the fucking roof.
Oh, it's only up 7% from 2022. What?
Oh, fuck, you know it's not.
Right?
7% times how much?
What, per month? What happened here? Maria says this eating thing is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's but yeah, so they're raising the minimum wage because we can't afford shit now. And now with tariffs potentially coming in or not, we don't know. Prices are shifting even more.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I'll say. Rarely do prices go down after they
once they
go up. Few exceptions.
Except for fuel.
Right. Fuel is one. another thing, the egg prices will go back down. By the way, love the memes about it. Feel free to email those memes at talkofthetavernshow@gmail.com because they're fucking hilarious. But
I love the one with the guy putting the eggs in the baggies and putting them on the scale and weighing them, and then putting his price on. That was great. That was
I love
yeah,
the thing
real-
that I joined the Amish lottery. It's up to 4
yeah,
cartons of eggs. You better get in this way you can.
yeah.
So, yeah, here we go. And by the way, Maria says, wait, inflation is up 7%? From when? Because it should be 2 to 3% annually. If we did it 2% annually, that means in 25 years, prices would have gone up by 50%. They haven't. And I don't feel like they
Yeah.
should in a good economy. But what do I know? So we've had minimum wage raised. When that happened, how do people compensate for having to pay all their employees more?
They raised the prices.
Like who raised prices, Ed?
Who?
Who?
The grocery store.
Grocery store, restaurants, ship.
Restaurants.
By the way, a lot of this price increase, especially in shipping and stuff, that came from COVID. Because things were being quarantined and not allowed in.
Would you like butter on
So
that, sir?
they raised the shipping costs to cover the extra money for shipping. And
And we had supply chain issues.
yeah, and it never went down. Because, oh, cost of business decreased? We're not going to lower our prices. We're going to scrape in that extra. Greed. A reoccurring theme in our show.
Right. Right. Well, off topic a little bit, but the supply chain issues during COVID, I remember being in the liquor store and the bourbon shelf was practically fucking empty.
Mhm.
I was like, y'all don't have any bourbon? And the woman looks at me and goes, supply chain issues. I was like, wait a minute.
I remember that.
The bottles for bourbon are made in America. The bourbon is made in America. None of it gets shipped in from fucking overseas. How the fuck are we having a supply chain issue?
Because companies were hiring those trucker companies to run something else instead of the bourbon and paying them more than they would for the bourbon. So things weren't coming in. I would hope truckers were making fucking bank during that period.
Yeah.
I would hope. So, yeah, they raised prices on everything across the board because minimum wage was raised. Andrea, you got
Yeah.
anything to add to this? What, some more cons of the minimum wage being raised?
Well, if you really want to know.
Yeah.
So, everybody's like, raise minimum wage, raise it. Yes, absolutely. But they're not understanding when that minimum wage is raised, either the prices are raised or people are let go from their jobs. And if the minimum wage is raised, you're making more, which means they have to pay more, which means you have to pay more. I remember when you could have rent for a house for like $800-900. Now for an apartment, it's $1,500 to $2,000.
For a 1 to 2 bedroom.
If that. Yeah, so everything has gone up, and what do they call it? Deflation or inflation? I don't know what they call it. The things we buy may stay the same price, so you feel like you're not paying more, but the packaging and what's in it is shrinking, so there's less for the same price.
Yeah, Ed just said shrinkflation, which is what they call it.
Yeah.
And this is not new. We have cats. We love our cats. We have watched that 30-pound bag of cat food, because we got a lot of cats. That 30-pound bag of cat food go down to 28, 26, 23, 22. Oh, the price hasn't changed. The bag side hasn't changed. But, yeah, we're now getting 30% less than we got previously. So, yeah.
Shrinkflation versus, Maria says, different from shrinkage, which happens when it's cold. But yeah,
I've seen that Seinfeld episode.
yeah, minimum wage needed to come up. I don't disagree with that because minimum wage at $7.25 or $10. A lot of states were at $10 already. Was not a living wage, okay? Because you couldn't make it. You
Right.
couldn't make it on $10.
Not
So
with one
yeah,
job, 40 hours a week.
they raised it. Some states went all the way to 15, like boom, right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
But if prices are going to go, if we're not going to set prices, then it really does no good to raise the minimum wage, because the rich man at the top making $1 million, he's still going to make his $1 million.
Yep.
Whether he has to raise the price or cut jobs, he's still going to make his damn $1 million. So
Oh, no, he's going to make more than that, because when the cost of business increases 3%, they raise prices 4%. And where does that extra go? Oh,
right.
we're just preparing for the next thing. No, you're not. You're taking
No,
an
you're not.
extra cut. And if things
Greed.
go up again. So, what are the pros? Are there pros of minimum wage going up?
You would think.
You would think.
Well,
Because,
it,
I think it's more a psychological pro than anything else.
yeah, there is that. Here's what I'll tell you. If minimum wage kept up with cost of living increases, minimum wage would be like $42 right now since the
Right.
80s. Because cost of living keeps going up. Because, like McDonald's, who, by the way, learned their fucking lesson this time, well, they learned it. They knew what was going to happen. Basically, McDonald's raised their prices, raised their prices, raised their prices up. We're now not growing. They didn't shrink. They just weren't growing with the numbers they expected.
Right.
And they eased off a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is again coming down to greed.
Greed.
And
Yep.
you're not nourishing your society and the people within it to help it grow and expand and become better. You're just fucking everybody over to make a buck.
Yep.
well, and here's what I found. Yes, they may raise the minimum wage. Great, you're gonna make this money, this much per hour, but you're making this much, so they're not gonna hire as much people. So you're doing the work of 3 or 4 people to make that.
Yep. Okay, Maria just said something very wise. And she said a few things. I'll read a couple of her things. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Pros is that it makes the workforce think they're getting more money, so it pumped people up for a little bit. Right. It helped the financial health of
Morale.
the U.S. Now I'm trying to think of the economy, damn it. And then she said, I mean, for large businesses, it's greed. For the smaller ones, it's to keep afloat. And that's a great point. Because a lot of these smaller businesses, I don't walk into this great restaurant run by the owners. It's their only location. It's great food, great service. They're not living in a goddamn mansion.
No.
They're scraping by, not as much as me, but not a lot better. They might have a 3,000 square foot house, 3 stories, but they're in a neighborhood of 600 other units that look just like theirs, and they've got a postage stamp size yard, and they're still, credit is maxed out, etc. So yeah, we can't look at small businesses, big businesses, and I realize it's cheaper to go to a big business and support them. But a small business knows what you're dealing with as a consumer. I saw this great thing, which, oh, come on, what's her name? She played Guy and Ed.
Whoopi.
Whoopi Goldberg. She was on The View, and she mentioned how much she relates to the working person because she goes to work every day.
Whatever.
And then the TikTok person, I didn't do the back research on this, so feel free to call me out on this one. But he broke down her salary and her money. And when you make $70,000 a week, what makes you think you understand what the common man is dealing with here? just because you get up and go to work. By the way, I recently learned that like Vanna works like 33 or 37 days a year. She records 6 episodes in one day. She's off the
Who
rest of the
does?
year. Vanna White,
That on white.
Okay.
Wheel of Fortune. I think I just said
Yeah.
Vanna. I don't think I gave a last
Yeah,
name.
that's why I'm like,
Like, you know, we all know Vanna. We hang out with her on the weekends
Yeah,
when
all the
she's not
time.
working. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, when she was on an interview apparently, and somebody pointed that out, and then went, that means you have 320 whatever days off a year, and she's like, yeah, when you put it that way, it's a pretty good job.
Yeah.
She was on with Pat Sajak for over 40 years. Anyhow. So wait a minute. If there's no pros except for a temporary morale boost, should we have never raised minimum wage?
well, maybe if prices of everything didn't go up, because it's not just here where things go up, because we have to buy supplies and things from other countries.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But they're already paying their labor force 50 cents an hour. So, but that's another show.
yeah, but we have to pay for what is produced. So that's where our end comes from.
You
Well,
know, and that's the problem with our economy. There are no jobs here. We've sent all of our manufacturing overseas, so that it's cheaper to pay the labor overseas 50 cents an hour, put it on that damn shipping container and ship it here, than it is to pay $15 an hour to the employee here in America.
but the tariffs
Yes.
should fix that, right? We'll start producing
The
stuff
tariffs, the tariffs should fix that.
but what will really happen
They'll raise the price of the goods.
from out of the
Well, and here's the
country
thing.
and not start producing it in the US?
Yeah, they still won't produce it in the U.S.
And what are you saying,
And
Andrea?
go ahead,
Well,
Andrea.
and the thing is, we could do it here. And
Uh-huh.
they're like, oh, foreigners are taking American jobs. Do you want to do that job? You got to have people here that are willing to do that job for that pay to
People
keep
here
the
did
prices
those
down.
jobs for years before they moved those factories overseas. We don't even produce a light bulb in the United States anymore.
It's all cost. It's all,
Here's a
yeah.
fun fact I learned
Greed.
recently. Apparently, incandescent light bulbs, you know, the ones we no longer make, they're like
Hmm.
illegal to make now. They are better for our health than LED and fluorescent.
And LED, yeah.
Yep. And they last longer, don't they?
No. In
No,
theory, no.
no.
Absolutely not. But when I have a LED that's supposed to last 100 times longer than an incandescent and it still blows out in 7 to 9 months, I'm like, I did not
Yeah.
leave this on for 10,000 hours.
Nope.
Isn't that like 7 years of 8 hours a
And
day?
you're supposed to properly dispose of it at certain places. Who does that? Who doesn't just throw it in trash?
Since we're on air, I'm going to say I do that.
Well, I don't even throw them out. They're still in the light socket. So, you
Look,
know,
Damn, it's dark in here. What the hell? That
seven,
bulb's supposed to last 10 years.
it's going to stay there for 10 years, damn it.
so come on, there's got to be some pros. Here's what I'm saying. There should be a pro, as in a good side to minimum wage going up. There absolutely should be a realistic, concrete, solid pro to it.
It's all in
But
our heads.
doubling the price of minimum wage in a 3-year jump map is not the way to do it. When the cost of living goes up 3% or 7% or whatever that year, that's when minimum wage should jump to keep up with it.
But even so, if the cost of living jumps 7% and we increase minimum wage 7% to keep up with it, the greedy man at the top is going to increase his goods now by 10%.
How do we control? I guess we're not here to make solutions. We're here to complain, right?
Unless we set pricing, we don't control it.
Which
we can't. It's the people up here. They need to not make $1 million a week if they choose to cut their salaries a little bit and let it trickle down. then it could kind of balance out. But it's just getting to that point. It's not going to happen.
But we're getting to Mars, right? We get to mine asteroids now, right? Because we need that
No,
platinum
I've
on
seen the
asteroids.
Martian
And what does that do for you and me?
because I can't afford to go to Mars.
Right. Right.
I could barely afford gas to get to work. Come on now.
I,
How
I,
am I
I
going to do
don't
that?
I don't have the percentages now, but I did read an article about the 1960s, and the wage gap between the average worker and the man at the top. It
Mm-hmm.
was much, much lower than it is today. You know what happened to change that wage gap?
What?
Nixon went to China.
You get what, a hand job in a massage parlor? What happened while he was there?
We opened up trade with China, and manufacturers started moving their business to China because it was cheaper labor force. The wage gap just kept getting wider and wider and wider and wider from that point on.
They did call him Tricky Dicky for a reason. There you go.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is we started a world economy,
Mm-hmm.
but we started very unbalanced because
Mm-hmm.
our pay scales are not nearly the same
Not nearly the same.
because their worker needs financial needs are significantly less than our financial needs. Because we got to have 2 cars per house, we got to have multiple pets, we got to
Mm-hmm.
have more than one child.
But the reason why we have to have 2 cars per house now is because both the husband and wife have to work.
True.
Thank God we work at the same job and the same schedule. Otherwise,
Yeah, we've talked about like, oh, maybe we could look at, oh, right, we're sharing a car, so
Mm-hmm.
if we're going to switch and go to 2 jobs, we're going to need a second car if we're
Yep.
working different jobs and different shifts and all that.
and that's more insurance, car payment, more fuel, more upkeep. It's not even worth it.
I'm like you. I'm fortunate that Teresa and I work the same job, the same place, because if we had to put that truck on the road every day now,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
there's no way I could put the gas in it.
Okay, I got something more for this topic. I just got to remember what it was because I totally forgot it. Let me check Maria's comments here because that might trigger it. Pro for minimum wage does help until the price of everything else goes up. Enjoy those 2 weeks. There we go. I mean, the car thing for needing 2 is true if you don't live close to anything, which, yeah, we don't here. But
We
the
don't.
problem is that what would you save on a second car in the city? You only have
She
to
nailed
pay
it.
more rent. Yeah.
Yeah.
To live in the city, it costs more to live in the city, but you don't need a vehicle. Here, you
Right.
have to have a vehicle. It's,
I'd rather have to have a vehicle and be away from all the people because, oh my God.
yeah, that's fair. For me, too. Yeah, I can't think of what else I wanted to say here. So, So it's all broken on top, is what I'm
Yeah,
hearing.
it's broken on top.
The break is at the 90% point. And if we manufactured and produced things in the U.S., which I understand that's what our current president Trump is hoping for or saying will happen, and we're not going to argue those details right now, right here.
Mm.
But in theory, it's great. In reality, are those top executives? And then we hear these stories about like Henry Ford that went, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to give every employee a percentage of the company.
A percentage of the company. He owned everything. He produced everything himself, right down to the damn rubber plantation.
Right. And then there's
He
been
also
other.
created the 5-day work week, weekends.
Yes, the 5-day work.
Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. Do you realize Americans work more than almost every other country? We
Yeah, I realize it.
have. Like, we always hear these horror stories about, China, they're working 16-hour days and 6 days a week. And don't think that's all of China. I
Yeah.
think that's a very small percentage of their population.
Mhm.
hmm
But if we look at paid holidays, government issued paid holidays, which only certain industries have to be paid time and a half on that. It's optional for most industries, like food industry, retail industry. It's
Yeah.
optional. They don't have to pay that. There's we have 10 days off each year. There's only one country with
I have
less than
5.
us. And it's like Micronesia country. It's like a teeny little country. So, Maria, fun fact, there are some companies, she said, that do that. When you become an employee, you get a share of the company in dividends, which is cool. Rare, but cool. Amazon used to do that. And it was about 7 years ago, they stopped it.
Yeah.
And then they took away another thing and another thing.
And another thing, and another thing. When I worked for Sears way back in the day, you automatically got dividends for the company as an employee. Now, where's Sears today? I think they're gone.
That's
Um,
because they stopped all this other stuff. There's no loyalty anymore. Why are we going to be loyal to them when they treat us
mhm,
like gum on their shoe?
right.
And by the way, Maria, we do not get double time on holidays. We get time and a half.
Yeah. Time and a half.
But some companies will pay your regular pay plus time and a half. So you get like 2.5 times on a few holidays.
Now, I have a couple of clients. I work in the security industry, providing security officers to whatever
Hmm.
clients. Um, I do have a couple of clients that they close down on holidays, and we actually only have 5 holidays that we put in contract to pay our employees time and a half. But I do have a couple of companies that do recognize it's about, as you said, Travis, about 10 holidays a year.
Mm-hmm.
They close down, they don't have security on site those days, and they actually pay our officers. I'm like, maybe I'll go back to the field instead of being a fucking manager.
Is sometimes it's not worth being a manager. I know at some companies I currently work at, um, the assistant managers, let's call them, they get only like $1 more than your average employee. Maybe a little bit more than that, but not a lot more than that. Now, once you move up to the next level of management, they get a significant jump. And above that, it's another significant jump. But yeah, there's
But
an
you're also in charge of people, and
well, that, and you're expected to do the job of 3 people. And a
Yeah,
lot
3
of
people.
middle management does not understand when I tell them sometimes you will not succeed until you fail. And what I mean by that is if you always put out all the fires all the time, they're never going to fill that gap that you're covering for them. Until you consistently fail, and everybody else does too, they'll realize, oh, we probably should fix that.
Mm. Well, I have some site leads on some of my sites that make more money than I do because we're a contract industry. So if the client's willing to pay it,
Yeah.
they're making more money than I am.
Hmm. Okay, let's wrap this up on a very sad note. I guess we didn't do an opening toast or a closing toast.
We did not.
Yeah, what do you got?
Nah, we'll get into that some other
You
time.
sure? No, we got time. What do you got?
Well, you had mentioned the tariffs
Yeah.
and other things that fix it, and I still have to go back to what we were talking about on a previous episode. It all really lies in the hands of the American consumer. Some things we have to buy. We have to buy food. We have to buy heat. We have to
Mm-hmm.
provide housing for ourselves. We don't have to have all the gadgets that we have in our. And if
Nope,
we don't buy those gadgets, the prices will come down.
they will. And also, if we're going to do, oh, this is dangerous territory. I don't know if I want to go on. If we don't boycott for the flavor du jour,
Mm-hmm.
If we boycott because we can't afford to live like this,
Right.
it would change things drastically. The only
Drastic.
way for us, the little people, and we have the numbers, folks, the only way for us to make them change is not to complain about, oh, we've got an issue this in the news, we're going to boycott for that. It has to be, we can't afford your shit. We're
We're not
not
going to
going to
buy it.
buy it from you.
We're not going to buy it. Andrea.
But okay. Have you seen social media? I haven't in a while because I deactivated all the stuff. You have people up there. You have to have this. Look at me. Be like me, even though it's not real. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times they'll rent houses for a
Mm-hmm.
couple of hours to do videos, or they'll get given all this stuff so that you feel like you want to be awesome like them, so you have to buy it. And you
Mm-hmm.
run up your credit, you go into debt
Mm-hmm.
because you have to have that.
Everybody wants to be like Mike.
Yeah.
I know Mike. He
Even
ain't all
Mike's
that
not like
special.
Mike. Come
Yeah,
on.
it's true. Yeah. So I guess the solution is, on our level, if we actually want to do something, it's going to be a matter of, you know what? So sorry. We can't afford to be a snowflake. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, cut the fat, go with the base necessities, and stop. And I'm talking to me too, because I will
Oh
buy
yeah,
something off
I'm guilty.
Amazon or Walmart in a heartbeat because I want something. We can't do that. It's going to
We
be a
can't do
matter
it.
of, we're only buying food. We're not eating out. And you know what? This might lead to. Oh, we've run this episode longer than normal, but I'm going to go with this one. Okay, we are mirroring the
Remember?
19 teens and the 1920s almost exactly with big events. Now, we didn't have a world war, but we had other stuff. We had a plague, because they had the Spanish flu in 1918. We had COVID 19, which started in 2018 and rolled into 2019 when we went, oh, that's real. That's a thing. We should pay attention now. We had a shaky Wall Street, etc. Let's see what happens in 2028 to 2032
Mm-hmm.
and see if we have another depression.
We're overdue.
We are, because in
Way
2008,
overdue.
we pulled the bank's asses out of. And by the way, I think it was 1909 or 1907, I forget which, we had a very similar situation with the banks. So, my point is, for anybody listening, you know what? Figure out what you really need. You can still buy extra shit right now, but there's probably going to come a time within the next decade where you got to tighten your belt a little. Know how to grow your own tomatoes, especially when, fruit and vegetable prices shoot up, because what is it, 70-80% of our fruit and vegetables come from outside of our country,
Outside of the country. That's utterly ridiculous
and
to me.
most of our vegetables grown here are sold to people outside of the country.
Outside of the country.
Ugh. Anyhow,
Yeah.
okay, let's raise our glass. Here's the toast. Take a sip in sadness, because this shit is stupid, and it shouldn't have to be this way.
Nope.
Closing thoughts before I play the outro music and talk all the way through it, guys?
Oh, I rolled mine.
Andrea, you got anything?
Join us next time.
There you go. We're going to get another round, folks. We're going to set it up for the next time. Come join us then. If you got any thoughts on this subject or subjects you'd like to hear, make sure you email us at talkofthetavernshow@gmail.com. Or, if you're feeling crazy, for subscribers only, we live stream this, which is what you're hearing Maria, Tal, and others talk to us via chat on twitch.tv/Travis Tavern. Shh! It's a secret. We don't publicize that stuff, except when I say it on our show. So you guys have a great night. Clean your glass as well. Fill it with good whiskey, wine, or whatever you love. Bye.